Hello, and welcome to an introduction to using Summon for political science research. I am your social sciences librarian, T. Gorblich, and if you have any questions at all about this tutorial, please feel free to contact me at the contact information that is now listed on the screen. So what will this tutorial cover? First of all, it will cover locating Summon on the library's homepage, the basics of Summon and what Summon is. Also, I will talk about refining your search results within Summon using filters like content type, publication date, discipline, and subjects. Also, I will talk about accessing the full text of materials that you're finding within Summon, and then how to get more help utilizing Summon. So let's go ahead and get into Summon. Now, in order to access the Summon research tool, you will need to be at the library's homepage, which is library.umd.umich.edu. Once you arrive at the library's homepage, you will notice this search box on the library's homepage. This is the Summon search box. And what Summon is, this is essentially a one search option where you will be able to search the entirety of the library's collection for whatever topic you are searching for information on. And this includes searching through the library's catalog for print books as well as ebooks, and then also through the library's databases for article material. Now, you simply need to begin your search in this box here, and then you will be off and searching. So let's go ahead and type in lobbying, which likely has a lot of interest to political science students. And then we just need to click on search, and we are then off and searching the Summon search tool. And what we are getting back is a search results list with over 2,400,000 items. That is obviously too many items to look through, so we have to start to think about ways we can filter this search or reduce the search results list. And we can do that by first considering the content type that we want to restrict this search to. And the reason why you want to restrict this search to a content type is because your assignment, the projects you are working on, your professor is most likely providing you with the kinds of materials that you are able to use as part of your research. So some professors will allow you to use just about any sort of content type. Some professors will identify that they want you to utilize newspapers, journals, books or ebooks, and then of course magazine articles. And all of these content types will hold a different perspective on a topic. That's why typically professors will be assigning you content types to utilize in your research, because a newspaper article will cover a topic much differently than a journal article, for instance. The journal articles are considered to be more credible than most of the other sources or content types that you'll find. And there are many more content types. Like if we click on more, we'll see the variety of content types that are actually available to us. But we're going to restrict this search to the journal article content type because we want to sort of locate articles within political science journals, and these would then be very credible items that we would be able to look through. So let's go ahead and click on journal article, and then we reduce this search now to just over 226,000 items. That is still a lot of material to go through. So there are other filter options that we can restrict this search to. Like for instance, we can go further and restrict this by a publication date, or filter this by a publication date. So we can say something like the last 12 months, or the last 3 years, or last 5 years, or we can identify a particular date range. Okay? Most professors are going to say you can use things within the last 5 years. And you want to really be cognizant of the date that you're using, or the dates that are on the materials, because you want the most recent research even if your professors aren't giving you a date range. So if we restrict this now to the last 5 years, we're going to get this down to 37,592 items. That's still a lot to look through. And along the way, of course, if you want to look at any of these articles, because looking at these articles may help you figure out the terminology that might be better for another kind of search within this tool. So we can do another thing now. We can restrict this to a discipline type. Okay, so what do we want as a discipline type? Okay, ideally we would want to maybe locate material that is within the political science or public administration discipline. Okay, now why do we want to, in this case, utilize a particular discipline? Because if we restrict this now to a particular discipline, we will be getting publications from that particular discipline. So let's find political science, and there is a political science, there is a government discipline, and we can restrict it to both of those. But I would ideally recommend that you go discipline by discipline, because that will help you reduce your search a little bit faster. So again, if we wanted to restrict it to a particular discipline, we can do that. And in this case, we're going to go with political science. So we click on it and then click on apply, and then it will reduce the search down to that number of items. And you'll start to see right away Journal of Politics, International Tax and Public Finance, Journal of European Public Policy, American Journal of Political Science, probably one of the best political science journals you're going to be able to find material in. But this is still too many results to be considered a complete search. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to try to narrow this even further and make this more specific. And we can do that by trying to locate what the subject terms are within the articles that are represented in the search results list. And if we can find articles that have the subject terms that we want, then we will have more specific articles about what we're looking into. So if we go over to the subject terms section here, the subject terms filter here, we can find the subjects that are of interest to us, and if they're represented in the subject terms section, then those subject terms are going to be what these articles are about. So if we click on more, and let's hope that we will find the term lobbying as a subject term. Because up to this point, lobbying has been a keyword or a general kind of search when we typed it in initially. Okay, so now if we look for the term lobbying, and it is here, so lobbying is a subject of 480 of these items that we initially found. So if we click on lobbying and then go up to the top of the screen and click apply, these articles are now all dealing with lobbying as a subject. And this would be a really good point if you haven't already started to look at some of these documents along the way, to really now start to look more closely at the documents and the materials that represent the search results list. Because at some point, you're going to have to get to understand these articles a little bit more so that you can be sure that these articles will work for the projects that you're working on. Okay? Now, you might also think, well, 480 items is still too many to look through. And that may be true. It just depends on what your tolerance level is for looking at abstracts and looking at maybe the first page or so of the articles that you're finding. So if you want to refine this even further, you can add in more terms within the search box that is part of Summon. So if we wanted to say, for instance, find information on lobbying and the United States, we can just plug in that terminology now, and this will reduce your search results list. So we just type in "and United States," or we could say lobbying and policies, or we could say, if we wanted to be maybe a little more adventurous, lobbying and United States and policies, and that would reduce the search even further. So we can just now click on search, and we're now refining the results list to include lobbying and United States. Now remember, we restricted the search to lobbying as a subject. What we're doing now with "and United States" is we're just trying to locate in the articles somewhere the terms United States. So United States might be just a mention, or it might actually also be a subject within these articles, but we're just adding the terminology in there to try to filter this more. I just wanted to show you one more technique that you could use to filter the search. Now 260 results, we're getting closer to a very refined search. Now along the way, you've been asking yourself a lot of questions about this because you've been filtering it in certain ways. So that's really good with respect to you thinking about this topic that you're working on. But it is really to a point where, again, we need to start looking at some of these articles to figure out if we can actually use them. Okay? So if you wanted to look at any of these articles, you just click on where it says full text, and you'll be able to look at the full text of the articles. So this one right here, lobbying from inside the system, why local governments pay for representation in the U.S. Congress. If we want to look at this, we just click where it says full text online, and we should be able to go into the article. And we're going into this article in the ProQuest database. That's where this article is located. So this right here, what we have is the HTML version of this article. It's a fine representation of the article, and if you don't have any other options, that's fine. That's what you have to deal with. But I would always recommend clicking where it says full text PDF so that you can get the actual PDF version of this article. This is an image of the article as it appeared in the particular publication. So here it is. And this article actually starts on page 193. And this will then allow you to more easily cite in the work that you're doing where you're getting something within this article. Okay, so we're getting it from, say, for instance, page 195. That's easier to cite in the text of the work that you're doing versus the HTML version of the article. Okay, so just remember that the PDF version of the article is by far the easiest version of the article to work with. And you have features within just about every database that you go into where you're going to be able to click on Cite and get a citation for the particular article. And then also you'll be able to email the article to yourself if that's what you want to do, and then you can download the article to your desktop, to a USB drive. However you want to treat the article from this point, it's up to you. And then of course, if we want to return to the search results list, we can just go back to the search results list and continue looking for more articles to use and then access and download. And that concludes an introduction to using Summon for political science research. However, if you have any further questions about utilizing Summon, please feel free to contact me at my contact information that is now listed on the screen. So thank you, and good luck with your research.